Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Perry Johnson Photography. And in today's episode, I will be interviewing Jason Rolstone. Jason is a Victoria-based painter, sculptor, and designer. And one of the things that I find very interesting about his work is that unlike other artists who create first and then invite their audience after the fact, he likes to work in the opposite way, creating bespoke or custom art. And this allows him to, and I will quote him, experience the environment and understand the desires of the viewer, which helps me to produce a more thoughtful piece of art. Pretty cool. So without further ado, here's my interview with Jason Rolstone. Okay, well, let's start from how you came into creating art. What brought you, what was your journey into?
Well, I'd always been interested in art and architecture. As a child, I built lots of Lego houses. And actually, my dream was to be an architect. I went to university for urban geography and architectural history. And then found out there was math involved. And my dreams of being an architect died. And I got into marketing. And I was a marketing and advertising executive for about 11 years. Wow. And then I went to rehab. And I had painted a painting before. One. It was black. It was striped. It was textured. And while I was in rehab, one day they asked us if we could do anything we wanted to. Every day, what would we do? And I said I would paint and be an artist. And they asked if I'd ever painted anything, and I said yes, one.
And it was black?
And it was black and striped and textured and shiny and matte. And if you look at my early paintings and some of the paintings I still do now, that is definitely the style that I love. I love stripes, I love texture, I like shiny. And so when I got out, I spent about 6 months painting and threw myself an art show and started to sell paintings. And I prefer to do bespoke art or commission pieces.
So what is bespoke, in case some people don't know?
Like a bespoke suit. It's custom.
Right.
And so I love homes and I love houses. I'm also a designer and a stylist. And so I just love creating an environment for people to live in that is beautiful and has balance. And so with the art, going into a space that has a blank wall and looking at the space and trying to figure out some kind of wall sculpture that would look good in that space, but also give it the right energy. Get to know the people who are going to look at it. How do they want to feel when they look at the painting? And then create something specific for them. I much prefer knowing where the art is going to hang and who's going to be looking at it when I'm creating it. Mm-hmm. I find that very helpful.
Mm-hmm. So how important is that feeling part of it? Like for you, when you're creating, how much do you go by your gut, or is it just do you remove yourself from the creative process, like your feeling, or are you guided by it, or
no, I don't,
do you trust your feelings?
That's a good question. I mean, my feeling is in every art, every piece that I do. I am passionate about what I do, and I love it, and there's a piece of me, right? Because I'm showing the world here, right? Like, look at this. Yeah. I don't particularly care how people feel about my art, whether they like it or not. I do care that they feel about it, that I create something that evokes some kind of emotion. My belief, that is what art is supposed to do. That's all it's supposed to do. I'm a big fan of Mark Rothko. Probably one of the only artists that I actually care that much about as far as what he did and his philosophies and things like that. And that was his belief, right? That's also why I don't usually name my paintings. Yeah. They're usually numbered and stuff. I don't want to call a painting, sunset horizon or something like that, and make people figure out what I was trying to do. I like people to come up with their own stuff. And I think that's important. And I never talk about what I was thinking about or what I was feeling when I was doing the paintings. So full circle to the beginning of your question, yes, there's a lot of feeling in my paintings. And no, I don't remove myself from it. I'm in it.
What is it about good design or a well-executed painting or sculpture that is important in regards to how, like, our quality of life?
Whether it's creating a painting or designing a room or styling, a sofa and a coffee table for a photo shoot, it all ends up being about balance. And, for me in my own life and, how and why I get to create art and spend my time doing that, it is about balance. And, you can, at least I can, walk into a room and feel uncomfortable because things are out of balance. And I can move one or two or three things around. I try not to do that anymore in people's houses when they don't ask me. But I have in the past. It can be horribly embarrassing. Some people don't like it at all. But, and that is, that's part of the gift that I have and part of the passion, right? That I can do that. And I think the same thing in the painting. And not necessarily balance of like, well, it's weighted the same on this side. But when you look at it, you feel a little bit of peace. You feel a little bit of calmness.
Right.
And if you look at my design and things like that as well, that's the style that I like to have. Like I don't want my art or my design to arrest people.
Right.
Right? I don't want it to shock people.
Yeah.
I want people to feel calm and balanced and peaceful and serene, and that's why there's nature is such a big influence for me as well, in creating the art too.
So it's almost like the balance that you're seeking is metaphorical to our desire to have balance in our own,
absolutely,
in ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. External and internal balance. Right. And I believe like the external balance creates that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the business of being an artist.
It's horrible.
How do you, Jason Rolstone, kind of balance marketing yourself as an artist versus just being an artist? Like, I just want to create.
Sometimes very well. Sometimes not very well.
Are you comfortable selling yourself and saying,
"Oh yes,
here"?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not an introvert. I don't know if you can tell from the interview so far.
I know I am.
But we know each other well enough to know that I am not an introvert. I am an insecure extrovert, though, which is difficult sometimes to live with. But no, I'm not. I'm not shy. That part of it is not a challenge for me, like it is like many other artists. Mm-hmm. I actually don't just want to sit in a studio and create all the time. I want to be out there meeting people, finding new clients, because at the end of the day, ultimately, that is what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I want to create the custom pieces. Mm-hmm. And so I have to be out there. The business part of it, having a background in advertising and marketing has certainly helped, in that I know how to market myself. But I'm also, and that's where it has been difficult, that transition of being and becoming an artist and a designer and being comfortable with that. Because for years I was an advertising executive. I wasn't not on the creative side, right? Like I ran the businesses of these accounts. So that part has been, a transition. The part that does make sense, I am also that tormented creative artist. And I can get in very dark spots, and I can get lazy too.
Yeah.
and where I don't want to have to deal with anything else. I just want to paint.
Yeah.
And I think that's natural for all artists.
So as part of your art, as part of your creation in the telling of the story of recovery for you?
It has been.
Yeah.
I actually did a whole series for the art show. I had my first art show in Victoria in June. I've been here for 2 years and decided that I should throw myself an art show here. And I did that. I actually did a whole series of paintings that were dedicated to people that I knew who had died
in addiction or
were struggling, right, in their addiction, and did a whole series dedicated to them. And that was a really interesting process, because those are probably the most personal paintings that I've ever done.
If you, like a young up-and-coming painter, I mean, I know quite a few. You probably do too.
Sure.
How do we nurture their artistic endeavors and without, telling them that, yes, you should have a plan B and, take the accounting course?
I mean, I would be remiss to sit here and say that I paint paintings, I sell them for thousands of dollars, and that's how I make all of my money, right? I don't. I'm also a designer, I'm a stylist. I do other things for income. But every single one of those things still has to do with my passion for creating beautiful spaces for people.
Right.
So, if, to someone who's young, if you love drawing and, all this kind of stuff, or painting or whatever it is, great, do that, right? Figure out a way to market yourself. Put it in coffee shops. It is just marketing, right? Go to events, meet people, get your name and things like that out there. But at the same time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a job, being a graphic designer and working on pamphlets for some company that pays you money, right? That you get to sit there and still create.
Yeah.
And I think for artists, that's all that matters to me. Like, as long as I'm using these two things every day, I'm super happy. And it doesn't matter what it is. If I'm creating something with these, it's a good day. Yeah. If I'm not, I get grumpy. Being in recovery and being, a recovering addict and a recovering alcoholic and living a life that was not real and true, that I was doing, that I was not passionate about, that's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And again, I'm grateful and fortunate that I have found what I am supposed to be doing in this life. And I will just keep doing it, and it will change. It has changed, right? Like, it started just as an artist, started doing more design work, and it's morphed into a whole bunch of different things, and it goes up and down. But at the end of the day, like, I know what I'm supposed to do. And I love it. I love it.
If you're interested in seeing more of my interviews with artists, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Perry Johnson Photography. Thanks for watching.